Let's read together our text for this evening. Psalm 84, verses 8 through 12, focusing especially on verse 10. Psalm 84, verse 8. O Lord God of hosts, hear my prayer. Give ear, O God of Jacob, Selah. Behold, O God our shield, and look upon the face of thine anointed. For a day in thy courts is better than 1,000. I had rather be a doorkeeper in the house of my God than to dwell in the tents of wickedness. For the Lord God is a sun and shield. The Lord will give grace and glory. No good thing will he withhold from them that walk uprightly. O Lord of hosts, blessed is the man that trusteth in thee. Now, in this morning's sermon, I didn't say anything about the human penman of Psalm 84. That wasn't absolutely necessary that I say something about it, and it didn't crop up. But this evening it's different because the word anointed occurs in our text. Verse 9, Behold, O God our shield, and look upon the face of thine anointed. Now, this passage refers to a single anointed person, one installed in his office with the pouring of oil upon his head. Theoretically, the anointed one could be a prophet, or a king, or a high priest. But the one person who stands out as God's anointed in the Psalms is David, who was anointed by Samuel in 1 Samuel 16. Then he was anointed king over Judah, and then he was anointed king over all 12 tribes. 3 times he, the great psalmist of Israel, was anointed. There are other pointers in this psalm to David's being the human penman. The frequent desires in Psalm 84 for public worship are very similar to those David issues in other clearly Davidic psalms. O God, thou art my God, early will I seek thee. My soul thirsteth for thee, my flesh longeth for thee in a dry and thirsty land where no water is. Psalm 63, verse 1. This passage deals not only with desires for public worship, but that in the context of a man who is on the run and unable to attend stated religious services. And verse 1 talks of God's tabernacles. The tabernacles, referring to the 2 rooms in the tabernacle, the tabernacle is situated, according to verse 7, in Zion. So we're not dealing with the tabernacle somewhere else, or the temple in Zion, and that too homes us in on David. And if David did indeed write this psalm, then it would have been when Absalom rose up to claim his throne, rather than the days of Saul, when he persecuted David, because at that time the ark had not yet been brought up to Jerusalem. Now, what about the psalm title? To the chief musician upon gittith, from the word for gath, a musical instrument used in that town which brought forth Goliath. To the chief musician upon gittith, a psalm for the sons of Korah. And either Psalm 84 was written by David for the sons of Korah, who were to sing at the tabernacle and later temple, or the sons of Korah wrote the psalm, and then they refer to David as God's anointed in verse 9, which would mean that some of these sons of Korah escaped and fled Jerusalem with David. And again, the former is much more attractive and plausible. This psalm is Davidic. And this adds too to the poignancy and beauty of Psalm 84. Here's David, king of Israel, fleeing Jerusalem to escape being slaughtered by his own rebel son Absalom. What does he miss most? What pains him? Is it his throne? No. Is it his palace? No. God's house. The public worship of Jehovah at his sanctuary. How amiable, he starts. How lovely are thy tabernacles, O Lord of hosts. That's what I miss. This is what I want. My soul longeth, yea, even faints, for the courts of the Lord. My flesh and my heart crieth out for the living God. And then he engages in holy envy because he's jealous of the little birds who make their nest around God's altars. I wish I was in their place. That's what he's saying. And then he turns to think of those who do have access to the tabernacle. The priests and the Levites who work there and live nearby. Blessed, verse 4, which deals with them. Blessed are they that dwell in thy house. They will be still praising thee. And I wish I was like them and not on the other side of the river Jordan. And then in verses 5 through 7, our text this morning, he refers to the rest of Israel, those who go up on pilgrimage, and they're blessed too, because their strength is in thee, in their hearts are God's ways. They go up through the valley of Baca, the valley of tears. They go from strength to strength, and they all appear before God in Zion, but I can't. And this is once again David, the man after God's own heart, set forth for us as an example of love and desire for God and his house, of zeal for Jehovah's worship and service. But David isn't finished yet. He's more extolling of Jehovah, more longing for him and his worship. Verse 10. A day in thy courts is better than 1,000. I had rather be a doorkeeper in the house of my God than to dwell in the tents of wickedness. That's wonderful. That's David's confession. And that's what we want in our own hearts, beloved. More and more of this, especially today, as we've partaken of the Holy Supper this morning. Let's consider then a day in God's courts. A day in God's courts. First, the superlative excellency of it, way above anything else in comparison, verse 10. Then the many blessings of it, verses 11 and 12. And third, the earnest request for it in verses 8 and 9. A day in God's courts. It's superlative excellency, its many blessings, and the earnest request for it.